When we're making decisions, how can we avoid those negative, unintended consequences? So when we make decisions, there are going to be unintended consequences. Two things that I want to talk about today. One of them is to be proactive in your decision-making process. And the other one is you have to bring other people into the decision-making process to avoid those negative, unintended consequences. Welcome. My name is Chad Carmack. I'm a former school principal and I'm the founder of Learning Pursuit, LLC. Recently, I was working with a bunch of young people and adults in a leadership academy session, and we were talking about unintended consequences. There are strategies in the decision-making process that you can avoid those negative, unintended consequences, and that's what I want to share with you today. What do I mean by negative, unintended consequences? Well, when you make a decision, you expect an outcome. Well, an example of a discussion that I had with that Leadership Academy team, we were talking about a situation with drones and what could happen with drones. One thing that could happen if you, say for example, are delivering products with drones. That sounds futuristic. It sounds like a great way to deliver packages, right? So what could go wrong? Well, unintended consequences. Let's say, for example, these drones are everywhere in the community. All of a sudden, the bird population decreases because the birds are afraid of these drones and they leave the area. Well, when birds leave the area, that's going to increase the insect population. Those are unintended consequences. Another unintended consequence might be, in this situation with the drone delivery, might be, for example, economics. All of a sudden people don't have jobs. These delivery folks that are out and about in our communities delivering packages to our houses, all of a sudden they don't have jobs. Another unintended consequence might be hackers, people hacking into the drones and causing all kinds of chaos for the business. You kind of get where I'm going. There are unintended consequences for every decision, and we need to really be aware of them and cut them off before they happen. Being proactive is extremely important if you're going to be a decision maker. What do I mean by being proactive? Well, we need to be thorough. We need to make good choices. Being proactive means that you might come up with more than one option in the decision. Slow down a little bit. It doesn't have to be real fast. You know, being proactive is way better than being reactive. As a decision maker, you may have emergency situations that you have to be reactive. You have to make a decision fast. That's understandable when you're a leader and you're making a decision and you have to react fast to that. Let me give you an example of a problem. Well, I learned from this as a school principal. When I first became a high school principal, I had parents and teachers tell me that I needed to immediately fix the problem at dances. They said the kids were dancing too close to each other and they were slam dancing. So they were smashing into each other. Safety issue out there, pretty easy. Well, that wasn't my only problem that I was trying to solve in a high school as a brand new principal. So I didn't put a whole lot of proactive thought into this. I made a quick decision. So I didn't research it thoroughly. I didn't get into the situation where I had more than one option, and I certainly made it too fast. I went quick, even though I produced, what I thought was going to be a good decision. I didn't think of those unintended consequences for a bad decision. I had the students sign contracts. I advertised it. I communicated quickly and a lot what I expected at dances. Well, two of the things is I didn't want students smashing into each other. I mean, I put that in writing, and I also said you can't touch each other when you're dancing. So my thought was PG-13. I thought, okay, well, PG-13, they'll pick that up real fast. So don't dance beyond a PG-13 movie rating, for example. Sent it all out, communicated it, thought I had it made, right? Quick decision, I had solved the problem. Well, I had not solved the problem. The day of the dance, a student came to me and shared, "Are you standing by the PG-13 rating of these dances?" And I said, with confidence, "Sure." She immediately shared that the movie back in the 80s, Dirty Dancing, was PG-13. Great. All of the dance moves in PG-13 Dirty Dancing movie are exactly what the parents and teachers wanted me to solve that problem. They didn't want that type of dancing. So you can see I was reactive. I made a mistake. I learned from it. Hopefully I made less mistakes. I think I made less mistakes in the future, but it was a good example of I needed to slow down. I needed to get more than one decision option out there, and I needed to be more thorough. I didn't research exactly what PG-13 movies had as far as dancing. If I'd have done those things, I think I'd have made a better decision. So if you want negative, unintended consequences to follow one of your decisions, don't talk to people closest to the problem. That's one of the best ways to get unintended consequences. Let's look at back in 1911 with India. Now, India was colonized back in 1911 by the British. The British, King George V, decided, let's move the capital. So they moved the capital to Delhi in India. When they got there, they found out, now this is the British, when they got there, they found out and they felt there were too many Cobras. They weren't used to seeing this many Cobras. So they didn't ask anybody. They didn't talk to people in the community to make this decision. They just made a decision. What they did is they put a bounty on the Cobras. So if you brought a Cobra in, they'd pay you for it because that was a way to decrease the Cobra population. They thought it was a great decision because they didn't talk to anybody. They didn't talk to the people that were in the city for years, their whole lives, dealing with the Cobra. The Indian population decided, oh, great, you're going to pay us a bounty for the Cobras. So they went outside of the city into areas that they could farm Cobras. They started creating farms where they would breed these Cobras and then bring them in for bounty. Well, the British found out about this eventually, and they decided, okay, we made a mistake, so they cut off the bounty. But at that point, the Indian farmers decided, well, we'll just release the snakes. So now all of a sudden, in Delhi, there's even more of a population of snakes, the Cobras, which are deadly snakes. So now they have even a bigger problem in the city because they did not talk to anyone. They didn't go out and talk to people closest to the problem. How can we solve this problem? Again, one of the biggest things you can do as a decision maker is go to the places where the problem is occurring and talk to everybody around it so that you can get feedback and learn exactly what might be some good decision making in solving a problem. Well, let me summarize. So one important part of decision making is to be proactive. We know that we need to make good choices. We don't have to move real fast. We can take our time to make the decision usually. We don't have to be reactive. We need to research things thoroughly. We need to make sure that we communicate clearly. All those things fall into being proactive. The other thing that we need to do is we need to go to the people that are closest to the problem and really talk to them. Get their input. It will help you in the decision-making process. It'll make you a better decision maker, and you can avoid those negative unintended consequences because they just kind of ripple out, and in some cases it's almost like a giant wave crashing in on us, things that we weren't expecting based on our decisions, and we want to avoid that. If you like what you saw today, I hope you will join us at learningpursuit.org, subscribe to the newsletter, and you'll get more information just like this in videos and on blogs. Those blogs are built for you so that at the very end of the discussion pieces on character education, on leadership, on mentoring. There are questions at the end that you can actually use in class settings where you're teaching those concepts to others. I really appreciate you being with me today. Thank you so much.